My very first RV video. I plan on putting on a number of these as we start using this thing. What is this thing? This is a 2022 Cherokee Wolf Pup 16 BHS. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you a DIY hack. So for this particular hack or modification, I guess modification is a better word, I was looking for a storage location for the sewer hose. Now if you look here, you'll see that we have our stock 4x4 bumper. This is typically where people store their sewer hoses. Under normal circumstances, this probably would work okay. For me, absolutely does not work at all. Why? If you look here at the opening, you'll see that it is not at all perfectly square. Specifically this bottom edge, it is curved upward. And it's not curved upward just right here at the lip. It's curved upward the full length of the bumper. The back side of the bumper was also curved inward, and I was able to straighten that a little bit, but upon doing so, I discovered that it's not just right here at the edge, it's the full length of this thing. So because of that, not only will it not fit the attachments that go to the hose, it just simply won't hold the hose at all either. So with that in mind, I needed an alternative for housing the sewer hose. So the first thing I did was I purchased a bin, a plastic tote, and I stuck that underneath the bottom bunk inside of the RV. This door here, that opens up into the bunk area. You can lift up the bottom bunk in our RV, and you've got storage area underneath there. Without lifting that up, the bin that I bought still fits underneath the bottom bunk. I thought that was gonna work, and then I started thinking about it, and I'm like, well, my daughter's gonna be sleeping on that bottom bunk, and I don't really want to have her that close to that bin. So I wanted to seek an alternative solution. Now some people still use a tote, but they keep it outside, and I'm able to do that on our RV. Our RV comes with this rack which folds down, but in doing so, that puts this spare tire really close to the ground. And if I did decide to do that, I'd have to relocate the spare tire or purchase an additional mount so that it can mount to the top side of the bumper. So I didn't want to go that route. So I did find another video on YouTube that kind of showed me an alternative for housing the sewer hose, and that was by using a PVC fence post. And that is what you see mounted to the outside edge of the factory bumper. Now you might be thinking, okay, this is PVC. If you get in an accident, someone rear ends you, this is going to shatter or break. And that's probably true. But if someone were to hit the bumper without that on there, they're still going to hit the tire first. And they're going to hit the tire in any case, because that's still sticking further out than this post that I've got on there. And they're still going to do damage to the back end of the trailer. So having this PVC fence post on the back doesn't really concern me at all. So let's talk about this a little bit. So this is a 5x5 by 8 foot fence post that I purchased. I did cut it down to roughly the same length as the stock bumper, which is roughly 7 feet or so, just over 7 feet, I want to say. And what I did was, you can see I did have to offset it. So if I were to redo this again, I would actually keep this fence post a little bit longer so that the portion that stuck out, just past the bumper was the same on both sides. If you look, you'll see that on this side I had to offset it. That way I can still open the cap that I've got here, and I'll show you that here in just a second. But again, this is a 5x5 by 8 foot, cut down to roughly 7 foot fence post, and I've got it painted black. I've got the caps painted black as well, although you'll see that some of the paint is rubbed off a little bit there. But I've got it painted black. This end is non-functional, meaning I've got some screws in there to hold it closed. I can take these screws off if I need to, just if I ever need to access this end, but I probably will not ever need to do that. And then I've got this thing mounted to the stock bumper using these brackets that I made. So I've got these bolts, which which are, I want to say 10 inches or so, 10.5 inches. I don't recall the exact measurement, but there's some pretty long bolts there. I've got a washer here on this end, a washer here on this end, and I've got nylon nuts on that end to hold it on. And these brackets I just created from a single piece of aluminum, cut them all the same length, drilled the holes through them to support the bolts here, and then I've just got it bolted around the factory bumper there. Just snugged it enough so that the bracket itself does not move. Didn't want to crush this, but that's probably, if you notice any paint scuffs or missing paint here, it's because I initially had this mounted to the underside of the stock bumper, but then I realized that essentially puts the pivot of the trailer at such a point that it's not able to pivot as much in the back, because it's going to bottom out before we hit the bracket here that's in the back. And that safety bracket there is so that the bottom of the trailer does not bottom out, and this would, when it's mounted to the underside, would actually do that before that bracket would hit the ground. So had to change that. Glad I did that before we actually hit the road with this. But so there's that bracket, it's holding it on that end. Same bracket down here, and then what we've got here is the fence post topper or end cap. Again, just painted, using that as my cap here. I've got a spring up here. There's also a spring on the bottom. You can see that spring there. So essentially, the spring is just holding this on here. And again, in taking this off, putting it on, it's going to scratch this a little bit. Don't really care about that because the cap covers that. And then inside here, I've got a PVC gutter, which essentially acts as a tray. And if I pull this out, you'll see that I've got my Rhino hose, both sections of the Rhino hose. I've got the attachments that connect to that, as well as the 90 that's down there. And this holds everything that I need for the sewer connection. Now I do have the little snake that holds this up off the ground, as well as a hose to clean this out. That's still inside of the tub that I've got inside the RV there. But otherwise, everything specifically for the hoses is inside of this tray, which is inside my sewer hose holder here. And again, that just slides in and out. This is, as you can see, just a little shy of the length of the post that I've cut here, and that's just so nothing can fall off the end of the gutter and stay, inside of the post here. And this holds everything really nicely, just slides right out. And then, when I'm done, I can take the cap, put it back on, and because it's spring loaded there, the spring will hold it on going down the road. And because this is offset, I can still access the bumper here and take the end cap off. Not that I would ever need to do that, because again, I'm not using this for any sort of storage, but I can still gain access to that if needed. So there we go. So there is my DIY for the sewer hose storage. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments, and I will try to help answer them for you.